Hi guys, Mr. Rufflewaffles here. At the start of April, Call of Duty started their Black Ops 3 viral campaign, promoting the game. 1 month on, we've seen over 20 videos on the Call of Duty official Snapchat account, multiple tweets from viral accounts set up by Treyarch, and we've even found a website containing a story designed to give you an idea of what the world is like in Black Ops 3 and act, I guess, as a prequel to some of the events in the game. This video is going to act as a comprehensive overview of the entire campaign and the hand that I had in it in finding the secret website and discovering all this new stuff about Black Ops 3. To some extent, the teasers actually started before April. For example, during Mark Lamia's DICE talk, the "if we haven't started already" line drew a lot of people's attention. At the same time, Vaughn was tweeting about there being multiple hints towards the game itself embedded in that talk, and this overall created a little tiny bit of hype within the community. The most die-hard fans definitely took notice. Fast forward to April 6th. Treyarch decide to patch 2 Snapchat ghosts into 2 multiplayer maps in Black Ops 2. Those Snapchat ghosts, when scanned, link you to the Call of Duty Snapchat account. At this point, people knew that something was up because they'd have no reason to do this unless they were planning something big. So it was quite exciting. I should mention now that all the times I refer to in this video are UK time, so GMT, so it's obviously going to be a bit skewed depending on whether you're looking at it from a US or European perspective. So, didn't take long for us to get our first Snapchat teaser. It happened at around 2 AM-ish on April 7th. The audio in the snap featured a mystery voice saying,
"Listen only to the sound of my voice."
In the video itself, there were various shots, such as one of some woods, and some people were saying, "Hey, Woods, that means Sergeant Frank Woods is coming back, right, guys?" A couple of other people also suggested that the shadows cast by the trees were a 3, and therefore Black Ops 3 confirmed. At around 9 PM on the 7th, we got our second video. The monologue in this said,
"Let your thoughts drift. Let the bad memories fade. Let peace be upon you."
From this, in my video, I predicted that the person talking was probably a Muslim doctor, because, of course, of the "let peace be upon you" line. Incidentally, about half an hour after that, the Snapchat account name changed to Dr. Salim, or Dr. Salim. I've been saying Dr. Salim, but it could well be Dr. Salim. It's just a matter of pronunciation. That sounds to me, and sounds to most other people, like it could well be the name of a Muslim doctor, so I gave myself a pat on the back there. A little later that evening, we got a third snap. This time it wasn't a video, it was a photo, featured a blue sky and what looked like the sun sitting there, but that seemed to be about it. However, color correcting, you can actually see the words Dr. Salim hidden in the sky itself. This, alongside the fact that the account name changed, made it pretty clear that the bloke talking was Dr. Salim. You're probably going to begin to see a pattern here because a lot of the snaps released at similar times on various days. One thing that you'll probably also notice is the fact that they're very non-UK friendly times. I stayed up way too late on way too many nights because of the fact that they were releasing at like 2 AM. Regardless, during the day on April 8th, they changed the Black Ops 2 message of the day. If you color correct the image, behind the tree, you can actually see the Trident logo that we've seen in various other places at this point as well. At the time, it was the first time we'd seen it, and people were speculating it was a new faction or something along those lines. We had new snaps as well at the usual times, 9 PM, midnight, and 2 AM. The next day, on April 9th, at 4:30, roughly, there was another snap, and the Back in Black trailer was uploaded to everybody's channels at around 6 PM. Weirdly, there were some copyright issues with the people that were meant to be uploading it, but some of the people that weren't meant to have it up were able to get it up without issue, so I'm not quite sure what happened there. That evening, the Call of Duty Black Ops 3 website updated, and it actually leaked the bio about the game, talking about a dark, twisted future, and also the cover art, though not actually on a case at that time. And this leak really worried a lot of people because they went, "Oh, future, that means exosuits. Crap." Fast forward to April 13th, we get another snap at around 11 PM, and I stayed up making a video literally all night and uploaded it at midday the next day because I thought that there were some really cool links to the previous GK Nova 6 campaign that Treyarch ran for Black Ops 1. Multiple other YouTubers then basically remade my video and talked about the same idea, but unfortunately it never really came to fruition. At something like 5 AM on April 16th, we had snap number 12, and then 13 and 14 later in the day. In 14, around 4 PM, there was a very obvious hidden message. Why was it obvious? Well, in all of the snaps that we'd been receiving, as long as they were a video, not the picture like number 3, I had been throwing them into an audio analysis program and checking out the audio spectrogram. Why had I been doing this? Well, I had high hopes that Treyarch would be really pulling through with this viral campaign, and at some point would give us some hidden messages to check out. Thankfully, it actually happened, which made me very happy. The first one was pretty boring, namely the one in snap number 14. All it said was, "Let your mind relax," which is obviously a quote that Dr. Salim had previously said. We also got our 15th Snapchat teaser at around 6 PM on the 16th. If you've made it this far into the video, then congratulations, because this is where things get really interesting. On April 18th, the Unmarked Man Twitter account appeared. Treyarch was its first follower, and so there were no doubts from anybody in the community that that specific account was legit, despite the fact that it wasn't verified on Twitter or anything along those lines. The Unmarked Man had a single tweet. "The incident," with a capital I, "changed everything." I made a video talking about the fact that his profile picture was a little weird, and he had these panels behind him, and his header was a little strange too. The header ended up being quite important because it actually changed on April 20th, and the new header featured some Morse code. http://www. But that wasn't all. That little snippet was preceded by QRV. That is the Q code that stands for "Are you ready?" as a question. So you would respond to that with another QRV, and that would mean "I am ready." For some reason, there's something special about Morse code. I don't know if it's the zombies community specifically, but whenever anyone sees it, they drop everything and go, "Oh my goodness, we've got Morse code! Ah!" So we had the start of a website address, but no website. Funnily enough, on the 7th of February 2015, I'd actually made a video telling people that A, I thought there was going to be a Black Ops 3 ARG this year, and more importantly, B, I thought that they would have a secret website somewhere that we would have to find and get access to. I honestly thought that we were going to get another GK Nova 6 campaign. I mean, I had a lot of faith in Treyarch, what can I say? Anyway, that was back in February, and now we actually had the start of a website. Awesome. On April 21st, we get another snap, number 20. Looking at the audio spectrogram again, we get something markedly more interesting than the previous "Let your mind relax" hidden in number 14. In this one, there were a load of blocks that looked remarkably similar to the cipher used in the buried Easter egg. It looked similar because it was the exact same thing. It's the Rosicrucian Pigpen cipher, and on the 5th of July 2013, I had actually posted a video on my channel explaining how you solve this cipher and asking Treyarch to use something more complex next time because this is just too easy. That was in 2013. I guess they didn't see the video, and so they used it again. Translating, it gave ENHA across the top, NCEY across the middle, and OURS across the bottom. What's that? Enhance yours. 2 words. Or is it maybe enhance yourself? I speculated at the time in a video about what else it could be, enhance your system, enhance your sinuses, I don't know, but at the time it was too early to say for sure. By April 22nd, we were up to our 23rd Snapchat teaser. On the 23rd, everything kicked off. This was the big day. So on the 23rd, the Unmarked Man, who'd been saying a couple of things on Twitter, decided to quote the Jaxiplanet Twitter account, which up until then was completely unknown to anybody. The solitary Jaxiplanet tweet included a link to a Soundcloud. Incidentally, the Soundcloud wasn't Jaxiplanet, but rather it was Axiplanet, missing a J. Mysterious. As soon as I heard that first SoundCloud audio file, I crapped myself because the trademark GK Nova 6 begin and end transmission audio was in there, loud and clear. It was again very obvious that there was stuff in the spectrogram as well, so I chucked it into my program and had a look. There are lots of numbers hidden in this piece of audio, and as far as I'm aware, to this date, we don't actually have all of them, even now. However, one of the ones that we did see was notated by some Roman numerals at the end of the sequence. LXXXVII. Roman numerals for 87. Here's a snippet of the audio from my video on the 23rd discussing the significance of the number 87 to Call of Duty and specifically to the GK Nova 6 viral campaign. So, Roman numerals for 87. This made me think, okay, back during the Black Ops days, the GK Nova 6 docs actually had this page, this message that contained the number 87. I thought it was Warehouse 87, but Alpha Snake corrected me. It's actually Building 87. I googled for a translation of the image itself. This is the thing that I'm referring to. And it translates, thanks to Black Ops Tiger, as, from a part we may judge of the whole. MK Ultra. Bluebird, Artichoke. The past, the truth. Blome brought the evil. Someone hid it. God versus God. Believe in the Weltice, and the dead start walking. Power, German knowledge. Beware of the black sun. Search the truth, it is still there. Son of the HUD. 4 letters. Building 87. Clean the world in a manner which is honorable. So that is the 87 that I was thinking of initially, but then it could also be plenty of other 87 related things. It's possible. For example, the VR11 from Call of the Dead has the number 87 on it. It's on the actual underside of the gun. You can see it in this image here. So I was quite excited about the number 87 appearing in this new audio. Just after 6 PM on the 23rd, we got the Black Ops 3 Ember teaser trailer. One very quick shot of a Bluebird was included in that trailer, and straight away, my heart started racing because I'd made a video earlier in the day talking about Bluebird, and now there was a Bluebird on the screen, and it said the word Bluebird right next to it. As soon as I saw it, I tweeted the word Bluebird in all caps, and attached a screenshot of the Bluebird from the trailer. That was at 6:07 PM. Very soon after, we all ended up on the Court Optic 2055 website because of its inclusion in the trailer once more, and in the source code for that, it's mentioned twice that PW, password presumably, is Bluebird. At this point, everyone is very excited because we know that there's going to be a viral website, we know the password, but we don't necessarily know the actual way to get there and be asked the question of what the password is. Generally, the unfortunate thing about viral campaigns such as this one is that the majority of people that actually take part are too lazy to actually try and do anything themselves. They like to think that they're helping out, but ultimately, all they're really doing is sitting there waiting for someone else to tweet out what the answer is to the riddle, or cipher, or whatever it is that has to be figured out. I've experienced this firsthand with things that I've run personally in the past on my channel, and also, for example, back during Origins, when I was the only person to decode the ciphers on the map, people then just copied what I had deciphered, and they actually ended up being very slightly wrong, so it was clear that everyone else hadn't actually done it for themselves. So what did we have to work with? How could we possibly find this website? Well, there was an awful lot of information associated with the Jaxiplanet and Unmarked Man Twitter accounts and the Soundcloud profile of Axiplanet. For example, we had the paragraph about the asteroid, 2052 CD98. That actually means that it was discovered in the first half of February 2052, and the D98 denotes the fact that the asteroid was the 2454th object discovered in that first half of February. But does that get us any closer to finding the website? Maybe, maybe not. We had the tag NEO, which might be near-Earth object, or could be something else. We had the quote from Jaxiplanet on Twitter, which initially alerted us to the SoundCloud, "Judge a man by his questions rather than his answers." The title of the audio file on the SoundCloud was Questions, and that quote is actually misattributed to Voltaire from Pierre-Marc Gaston. Back during the original GK Nova 6 campaign, they would use quotes from people who would be associated with various ciphers. So some people thought that maybe something to do with Voltaire or Pierre-Marc Gaston had to be done. It was seemingly obvious that the numbers included in that original SoundCloud piece of audio were extremely important. we ended up with something along the lines of 3, 84, 226, 23, 7, 1, 87. But there are certain ambiguities that made the process of deciphering much more difficult. For example, is it 7, 1, as the Morse code sounds, or is it 71? Similarly, when listening to the transmission, you have the crickets, the ascending tone, the GK-Nova6 transmission noise, and then you have 3 bursts. Those 3 bursts in the audio spectrogram are Roman numerals, it's actually the number 3, and then you have a very low tone. I wasn't sure whether the low tone was meant to indicate a visual break between the 3 and the other numbers in the sequence, as if to say that the 3 was just a reference to Black Ops 3, or whether we were meant to actually use that 3 in our set of numbers. I have this very sentiment highlighted in my notes. I have an arrow coming off the 3 in Roman numerals, saying, may not be part of the code, as there's the bassy tone afterwards, which could have been added to create a clear gap. Or that tone could in itself be some numbers that we've missed, because we don't have all the numbers, as the Unmarked Man and Jaxoplanet discussed on Twitter later that evening. But I'm getting ahead of myself. More ambiguities included the woodpecker noise, as I refer to it in my notes, which was a series of 39 very fast blips. I was also thinking along the lines of, well, if this is a website, the 7187, the final 3 numbers, are going to be the COM. And if there's a dot in there, that's going to be the number before it. So how can we manipulate the numbers and work backwards, essentially, to try and find the website? On top of that, I was looking at the paragraph that we had that I've mentioned already, and thinking, okay, we've got a lot of characters here. If we remove the spaces and the punctuation and things, maybe the numbers refer to specific letters within that character set, because none of the numbers were larger than the total character count of the paragraph. So, put yourself in my shoes. It's about 6:40, we have 84 spoken, 226 in binary, 39 from the woodpecker, 23 spoken, 7, 1 or 71 in Morse, and 87 in Roman numerals. We think we know the password, BLUEBIRD. We've got questions, the word questions, the tag, Neo, the paragraph from the Exoplanet, not Jaxoplanet, Soundcloud account, the Jaxoplanet account on Twitter, the Unmarked Man account on Twitter, and plenty of strange inconsistencies such as the fact that we had enhance yours and there were letters missing, and we also had Exoplanet and there was seemingly a letter missing there, the J, because we know it should be Jaxoplanet, right? On top of all that, why did the Jaxoplanet Twitter account change its profile picture from a version of the eye with text on it, as it is on the SoundCloud account, to no text at all? It was later figured out that that text is actually Getty Images, watermark, over the top of the picture. Why that's there, I don't know. Treyarch, sort it out, mate. But anyway, moving on. These were all things that we were considering. At 6:48, everything changed. The incident changed everything. What happened? Well, the Unmarked Man Twitter account decided to tweet at me. You can see from my tweets that I was damn excited. In my opinion, justifiably so. The Unmarked Man's tweet read, "Why so curious about the pretty blue bird?" I responded moments later saying, "BLUEBIRD, Artichoke, MK Ultra, let me in." The 3 things that I mentioned there, BLUEBIRD, Artichoke, and MK Ultra, are all things from the original GK-Nova6 doc that I had brought up earlier on my channel. They're also all mind control programs, which is obviously going to be key, I certainly hope so at least, in Black Ops 3. It seems like Treyarch are willing to mess with the idea of memory manipulation, implantation, and removal from the Snapchat teasers we saw, so I think that this is highly likely. Very soon after my response, I sent another tweet to the Unmarked Man. This one was addressed to everybody so that they could see what was going on, and I said, "So, the Unmarked Man, you like answers? I have it. BLUEBIRD. Now we just need to be asked the question. Your move." I even threw in a picture of a chess set. This tweet is in direct response to the fact that the Unmarked Man had been talking about the answers being more fun than the questions when responding to the Jaxoplanet account earlier on. At 7:09 PM, the Unmarked Man responded to my tweet mentioning BLUEBIRD, Artichoke, and MK Ultra, saying, "And those are important, why?" I wasn't 100% sure how I should respond to this question. It's pretty open. So I mentioned Harp, MKUltra, BLUEBIRD. When you're willing to do anything, anything is possible. This is in reference to the quotes that we've had earlier on in the teaser campaign. I also mentioned mind control there. I showed the Unmarked Man the original GK Nova 6 document, which mentions BLUEBIRD, and the BLUEBIRD image from the trailer. I can only assume that the thing that got the Unmarked Man's attention in my responses was my second tweet, sent at 7:18 PM. I said, GK Nova 6, hashtag Neo, 384-226-23-7187, which are the numbers from before. I then mentioned 115, answers, and tagged it with hashtag Black Ops 3. That wasn't all though. The thing that I did that I can only assume elicited some response in the Unmarked Man was I showed him my notes. It wasn't all of them, but it had the opening page that is titled, quite fittingly, Black Ops 3 Viral Campaign, and has got a load of stuff that I was looking at and working on, and another page of my notes as well. So, why was I doing this, and why was I tweeting in this particular manner? For example, the chessboard tweet. That's quite a specific thing to say. Well, I pretty much wanted to play along in character as much as I could. Because it wasn't just me that was going to be seeing these tweets. Obviously, there were a lot of other people interested in the viral campaign, and what the Unmarked Man had done by responding to me is essentially solidified my tweets, my responses, as part of the history of the viral itself. For that reason, I didn't want to have to look back in 5 years' time when we get another GK Nova 6 campaign, hopefully, and say, oh my goodness, I just didn't put any effort in, and this is a mess, and there are typos everywhere, and I'm just completely being belligerent and silly. I didn't want that to be the case. I also thought that if I sort of teased the Unmarked Man by saying things like, you like answers, I have the answer, BLUEBIRD, but I need to be asked the question, I need that prompt to ask me for the password before I can answer, then maybe that would lead the Unmarked Man to give a more interesting response. Obviously on Treyarch's side, they're trying to portray some kind of character here, obviously quite an ambiguous one in this case, especially as their quotes ended up just being from the book itself, but it's going to be a hell of a lot easier for them to respond if they can naturally do so in character without having to change things up too much because of what I'm saying. So I sent those two tweets, the second one being at 7:18, like I've mentioned, and at 7:24, the Unmarked Man responded saying, congratulations, you'll need this soon. That is all for now. I was happy with that and tweeted that I was standing by. At about 8:30 PM, we got a new Soundcloud audio teaser. I actually found it on the Soundcloud before they even tweeted it out on the Jaxaplanet account, and this one was Morse code. As I'm sure you're aware, Morse code works via dots and dashes. That is what makes up the letters. This had long and short pulses, and so we could tell what the letters were in Morse fine. But I'm not sure, to this day, whether or not the pitch of each of the individual bursts of audio meant anything or not, because they went all over the place, and it sounded very interesting to listen to, but it was seemingly random, or rather not important. Bit strange. Anyhow, that Morse translated to ETTERTOMORROW.INFO. This was also followed by some more Q code. In this case, it was QSL ? Which stands for Can you acknowledge receipt? And so you would say QSL back, and that would mean I am acknowledging receipt of your message. So we had that string of letters translated from Morse in the audio. We had the tweet itself from Jaxaplanet saying the final chapter, the first chapter. We had the tag on the piece of audio, the new audio image, and also all the stuff from before on top of that. 84-226-39-23-7187. 621 from the trailer. What could it all mean? The references to 115. Where are we meant to be going with this? At 10:15 PM, the Unmarked Man tweeted at Jaxaplanet saying, Jaxaplanet, they haven't found all of the numbers. Thoughts? Jaxaplanet responded saying, at the Unmarked Man, the numbers aren't the message. The Unmarked Man account then retweeted that tweet from Jaxaplanet. So the numbers aren't the message. We've got a load of the numbers, and we didn't really think that they were the message specifically, but they are the key to finding the intermediary letters between http://www.enhanceyours and etatomorrow.info, surely. Or maybe not. Maybe we're looking in the complete wrong direction here. At 10:34, I had tweeted etatomorrow.info, the numbers that we had found, 621, BLUEBIRD, #Neo, #Final Chapter, QRV, QSL, and http://www. I then added on, the numbers aren't the message. Mason, please. At 10:39, someone tweeted me, a guy called Jacob, saying, don't forget, enhance yours from the Snapchats. I had totally forgotten this. I tweeted back at him saying, wait a second, enhance yours? Etta tomorrow? From there, it was pretty elementary, really. Unfortunately, Treyarch, if you're watching this, I can't tell you that we did a certain shift or used a certain cipher to find those letters and use them to get the full website address, enhanceyourself-for-a-better-tomorrow.info. The letters ELF, FOR, AB are seemingly random, and so even if earlier in the day somebody had used those numbers to find those letters, they would have had no way of knowing that they were on the right track. It didn't help that we had other things to be thinking about, such as the fact that the Soundcloud was called Axaplanet, not Jaxaplanet. The Getty Images overlay of the image, what was that about? People were trying to figure out if that said cage or rage, things like that. And overall, there were multiple instances of little things that were putting a lot of people off, I felt like. Regardless, it was a great campaign. We found the website, enhanceyourself-for-a-better-tomorrow.info, and got in using the password BLUEBIRD in all caps. At 10:50, I tweeted out the website link, I tweeted the password, BLUEBIRD, and at 11:05, the Unmarked man responded, saying, well done, my friend, well done, indeed. Keeping up with the tone that I had adopted in my previous tweets, I responded to the Unmarked man's tweet of congratulations, saying, I'm sure we aren't finished yet. As my old friend Maxis used to say, bring me another. The viral campaign was a ton of fun. For some reason, on the 28th, they changed the password away from BLUEBIRD, 24 hours passed, and then changed it back to BLUEBIRD again. And when we checked the site after the change, they had changed the formatting. For example, it went from being center-aligned to left-aligned, and also some of the pictures had been changed around, added, or removed. They also added in some official Treyarch branding, that sort of stuff, and added the author's name on the final page, Michael Rudin. I think that wraps up the entire viral. I've actually posted audio logs of the book on my channel, so if you don't want to have to read through the heap of writing, then you can experience it in audiobook form, essentially. I know it's very unlikely that anyone at Treyarch is watching this, but as always, I'd like to just extend my thanks to you for bringing back some of those good old GK Nova 6 memories and playing with the community a little bit. It's always a lot of fun when this sort of thing happens, and, well, let's have it happen more often, damn it. I will say that if you want any clarification on any of the things that I've talked about, then you can leave a comment. I've been Mr. Rufflewaffles. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, then there's a thumbs up button below it, which you can click. If you haven't enjoyed, let me know why in the comments. And if you have any questions, the comment section is the place for you as well. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.